Welcome to the Breath of God. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to studying the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Over the last 45 days, we've reached over 42,000 people with the gospel of Jesus, and I've opened up a link for secure online giving to support this ministry. Specifically, I'm looking for 3 ministry partners that can give $3,000 each to support the ongoing operations and broadcast here at the Breath of God. And today's teaching. This is 2 Kings, which is willful sin brings a woeful end. And what we see in 2 Kings, we see a further deterioration of the nation Israel as they continue in sin in greater and greater degrees and measure. So in 1 Kings, we see that the kingdom was split in 2. So in chapters 1 through 10, you see the northern kingdom. And the northern kingdom continues to deteriorate in sin. Jeroboam, son of Nebat, set up 2 altars, one at Bethel and one at Dan, which was a false worship of Jehovah with their own priesthood and sacrifices. And you will find this theme throughout the kingship. Jeroboam, son of Nebat, will be the standard for the northern kingdom, and the standard for the southern kingdom will be David. And you'll hear God repeat in the books the sin of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he caused Israel to commit. And then you'll also find is the ministry of Elisha in these first 10 chapters, which is amazing. Elisha is the successor to Elijah. Elijah did 8 miracles, and we see the emergence of prophetic families in Elijah's ministry. Elisha's ministry is a ministry of multiplication, and you see 16 miracles in the ministry of Elisha. And you see the emergence, not just of prophetic families, but 4 prophetic communities in Israel. And Elisha's ministry is like a shock wave or tidal wave, which carries on through the exiles and Israel's return and Israel's ups and downs all the way to the time of Jesus. God deposited something powerful and released something that carried through the generations in the ministry of Elisha. So this is a great study if you want to take time and learn more about the ministry and the person of Elisha. And then you have in the middle of this book the alternating kingdoms. You see records of the different kings going back and forth in chapters 11 through 17. And ultimately, you find that the northern kingdom is taken away into captivity by the Assyrians. The nation continued to go downhill, refused to repent, even though they had the prophets in the northern kingdom. They are eventually taken away by the Assyrians. And this is a warning to the southern kingdom of Judah, which comprised of 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin. And you see the southern kingdom continues a little bit longer, and you see this in chapters 18 through 22. And then finally, and sadly, the southern kingdom is then taken into captivity by the Babylonians. And they are discontinued. Willful sin brings a woeful end. Both the North and the South persisted in sin, and God had to deal with it. He did not permit the nation to continue as they were. He disciplined the nation. So they went into exile, both North and South. God is patient, God is kind, and God is just. So if a nation or an individual continues in sin to where it becomes willful, God will deal with it. And you see that. And you see that actually in the key verse in chapter 17, verses 13 through 15. The verses are very explicit that Israel ignored the prophets, they ignored the seers, they ignored the commands of God, they broke the covenant, they began to worship worthless idols, and they themselves became worthless. So God ultimately had to deal with this rebellion. And that's 2 Kings. A man, a nation reaps what they sow. Thank you for listening today at the Breath of God. And remember, His breath is our calling.